Thank you for tuning in with Talking with Tatum. We're continuing our series speaking with county commissioners, and today we're pleased to have Terry Scruggs, who's the commissioner for District 7.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for joining us today.
Yes, sir.
What we're trying to do here is folks in the county that tune in to Wilson County Television is get to meet the folks who have been elected to serve on our county commission. And if you would, just start with us. Tell us a little bit about who Terry Scruggs is, where you grew up and where you live and what you do.
I grew up in Travisville County. I moved to Wilson County at the age of 17. I've been here ever since. I'm 60, so.
Well, I'm not good at math, and I'm not asking on that, but you've been here a while, and
Yes,
and have kind of set down some roots here, and you're a local fella. But and you're married.
Yes,
Tell us a little bit about your family.
I've got a daughter, Jennifer Scruggs. I'm married to Mary Scruggs. Mary does the animal control.
Mm-hmm.
I work for the Wilson County Emergency Management. I've been there 20 years.
What do you do with emergency management?
I do the mechanic work or run the shop,
Okay.
basically.
Well, that's a pretty good operation. I know they've got a bunch of equipment, fire trucks, ambulances, brush trucks. How many vehicles do you know off the top of your head?
I'm gonna say just roughly 50
Yeah.
or better.
And but you're responsible. I guess you've got some help because that sounds like it'd be more than a one-man job.
I have two mechanics and a part-time guy.
And been doing that for 20 years.
Yes, sir.
So anytime you see one of those vehicles going up and down the road, we can thank you and the fellows helping you for making sure it's reliable.
Yes, sir.
And they do have to be on call all the time.
24 hours a day,
And
7 days a week.
had you had a background in mechanics before you started with Weema?
I started working on cars as a kid,
Yeah.
14 years of age, and I went through trade school in Hartsville. And from that, I've worked on cars and trucks ever since.
Now, you represent District 7,
Yes, sir.
and which, just to give folks a general idea about that, that's, you were talking before we went on the air, it goes almost to Lebanon High School and out north of Watertown.
Shot Springs area.
Okay. And so it's a pretty good sized geographical district.
I may be wrong, but I think it's like 36 or 38 mileage wise.
And I don't know how many people are divided up into the districts that we have now.
2,600, I believe, what our last one was.
Okay. And you've been on the county commission, is this your second term? Or
Third term.
Third term. And so you've got some experience under your belt, but if you would roll back the clock several years to before you decided to run for public office, is that something that had been on your mind to do growing up or later on in life?
No, sir, not really. I had a friend that had run and didn't make it, and then he passed away.
Had run for county commission?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I kind of helped him, and after he passed away, I fell in the spot, I guess you can say.
Okay. And but in running for office, what I've seen over time is the people, particularly at the local level, who run for office are doing it really because they see a need or that there's something that they would like to accomplish. Had something struck you as to county government that things could be done a little different, maybe a little better?
We had some people that on Turner Road, I don't know where you know where that's at, but it's east of the county, northeast. And one of the people I knew lived out there had no water.
No water?
No water.
Okay.
And when I really decided, I talked with them and they said, make sure you get us water, whatever you do.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, if I can, I'll see what I can do. Well, it took, I think, finally 6 years we got water there.
So they've got water to
They've
this
got
day?
water. Linwood Road, we worked on a bridge, getting a bridge there. It took 5 years to get that. But it's what they call the hump bridge. I don't know whether you remember it or not.
I remember going over a humpy bridge out that way.
Jackie Wright lived there, right there at it. But yeah, we got it in there. But, and you know, just and worked on the school system. I mean, I'm on the school committee, and I don't know how many we built, 7 or 8
Just in
schools.
the,
Is that right? I think I was right on that.
well, that's a big part of what's going on right now, just the growth in our county, all the people realizing that Wilson County's got a lot to offer and the people moving in. In your time on the county commission, not having any prior experience as an elected official, what were some of the things that kind of surprised you about what all was involved? Because I guess from the outside looking in, it doesn't look as complicated or as involved as what it actually is.
Outside looking in, you don't realize how many meetings you have, I can tell you that.
And, well, the county commission meets once a month, but
You got all these other committees that you're on. And, it's, I'm not gonna say every night, but we're at least 2 nights a week, if sometimes 3.
so, and you've got to leave here in just a few minutes, I believe you said
Right,
earlier, to go to another meeting tonight.
Yes, sir.
Committee meeting. In your time on the commission that you've had, the 10 years or so, what are some of the things that stand out to you, controversial, or things that you could look back and say, well, you know, that was a good thing that the county did and I was glad to be a part of?
I'll have to say the school systems.
Yes, sir.
Helping with the schools and roads and stuff, yes.
Well, you know, you said that your district almost goes to Lebanon High School, which is, I guess at this time, as we sit here today, the newest high school that
Yes,
we
sir.
have. But Watertown's gotten a new high school, Mount Juliet's gotten a new high school, and we've got one that's due to open in the next year or so.
Right.
And about that. As far as in the future, what you would like to see, what are some of the issues that you or have noticed, or talking with other county commissioners or your constituents have said this is something that we really need to look towards or be concerned about or see that's coming?
I've had a lot in my district wanting bigger roads, and that's something that you're gonna have to buy the property.
Mm-hmm.
Used to, they would give you the property, but today it's, you gotta buy it. And it's coming, here and other counties. I own property in Trousdale, and I'm seeing it over there now,
Really?
Your little 1-lane roads are about a thing in the past, and
Well-
we still got a lot.
Well, it hasn't been that long since a lot of our county roads were still gravel roads.
Right,
And they basically just, from what I can tell, put a layer of asphalt down over the base of the gravel road that had been there for
Yes,
years. But when they talk about bigger roads, you're talking about a full 2 lanes or maybe even a 2-lane with a turning lane in some
Right.
places. And you think that people are reluctant to give you the property for that, as
Ones
opposed to having to buy it?
ones that I see and talk with, they'll sell it, but they don't want to give it.
Well, that's, I can kind of understand with the way the property values are, but it would benefit the whole community
Right.
and it would benefit their property. If they ever decided to sell it, it seems like one of the selling points would be to have a road that's wide enough for the traffic that's on it.
Yes, sir.
Now, your district, it's kind of we're not really urban, but you catch a good part of the city, south side of the city of Lebanon, but you also go out to the farming areas
Yes, sir.
as well. And have you noticed any do people in Lebanon want something different than what, say, the people out on Eastover Road or Poplar Hill Road want?
I have the calls in the city, well, I'll say this, one particular is the airport, when they stretched that out over there. And these people, they didn't want it.
Right.
You got the growth is coming now. You might as well get ready for it.
There's-
It's coming.
Well, you've had the benefit of growing up in Trousdale County and living here for a long time,
Yes, sir.
40 some odd years. We've all seen the growth, and nobody's been able to figure out how to stop it yet, it doesn't seem like.
No.
In the last minute or two that we have here wrapping up, is there anything that you'd like to touch on about county government, personal goals, or your job or family, anything we need to touch on?
I don't reckon.
Well, one thing I try to ask folks that have joined us on the show is if you were talking to somebody out there who's, and I'm not talking about in your district, but somebody that says, hey, you know, I would like to run for school board or city council or a county commission seat or any public office, what's some word of advice that you could give them?
I know we've had people come in and sit in the courts that, you know, that's what they come to listen to see what's going. But I'll have to say I learned a lot from that. I'm not gonna say, you know, it helped me when I run because you're sitting there listening to what's really going on. Mm-hmm. And I had help from other people too. I ain't gonna say I got that all, but you know, it's not just a one person thing. It's 20, 25 people there.
Right. But, you know, your vote is important in that
Right.
25. Now, one thing we did talk about before we went on the air, in your first campaign, you were saying, I'm not a public speaker. Tell us a little bit about that story that kind of became your tagline.
I was at Watertown High School speaking and got up there and I had a little paper written out. I was going to get up there and read off that paper. Man, I couldn't say a word. and me and my wife had talked, and she said, because I'd already did this, and she said, if you get to that part, just say, I'm not a speaker, I'm a doer. And I guess it stuck because, I mean, I still do stuff.
And did you say that at the rally that was up?
I did, and then we went from the school to Noreen, I believe, is where we went next. And I said the same thing over there, and one of the mayors previously with the city, he got behind me and he said the same thing. He said, I'm like him, I'm not a speaker, I'm a doer.
So your line got real popular real
Right.
quick. Well, listen, Mr. Scruggs, I appreciate you joining us, and thank you for taking time out of your day before this committee meeting to tell us a little bit about you and about the work on the county commission. And anybody who comes on our show will get a Talkin with Tatum coffee cup on there.
Alrighty.
So, and I wiped it off a little bit so it's clean, but I would wash it before you drink it.